This video takes a quick look at Tricorn House at Cainscross near Stroud. Tricorn House was built in 1972 and often pops up in the local rag and on social media. The almost universal response are calls to pull it down as it's an eyesore. It's bordering on brutalism with its concrete slab-like appearance, but the Stroud Civic Society say the building fits more in line with what's considered new brutalism, which flourished from the 1950s to the mid-70s. It's been here for so long I tend not to notice it any longer, but can see why people dislike it so much. Some of it's covered in ivy, so it's turning into one of those living walls that's great for wildlife. Tricorn House is home to a number of bats and anything else that dares to enter. It might be home to monsters for all I know. I'm not going in to find out. The internet suggests it's been empty since about the year 2000. Every now and again you hear tale of it being regenerated into something truly spectacular, but nothing ever happens. A recent story was that local company Ecotricity were going to use it, while another says it could become a care home. The building is currently owned by Millville Limited, registered in Guernsey. Short of knocking it down, it's always going to be a building seen from miles around, no matter how it's tarted up, simply due to its size and location. Whatever they do with it, it will cost a lot in either conversion or demolition costs, so it will probably still be there in another 10 years' time. It now has planning consent for change of use to residential, although the bats might restrict what can be done with it, as some are on the endangered list, so they'd have to be rehomed first. One of the issues with converting old concrete buildings is running new pipework and cabling around them. It's a tough material to drill into. Offices often have raised floors, so things like network cabling can be easily routed around the rooms under the floor. If you start putting in raised floors and false ceilings, you run into reduced floor-to-ceiling space. Back in its day, it housed the local Department of Health and Social Security. The DHSS used to be based in Stroud, near where Iceland now is, but then for some reason they moved to Tricorn House. The move was probably incredibly inconvenient for people that didn't have their own transport, as Tricorn House was sort of in the middle of nowhere. I can't remember if it was at the same time or not, but other businesses had offices in Tricorn House. I used to get motorcycle insurance there and used to visit a PCB design company. These days it just sits there as part of the landscape in quite a commanding position that looks out towards Rodborough Common. Its hopeless, desolate look might have once worked well for an album cover. Personally, I think it makes an interesting subject for black and white photography, as it's got that old grungy look that's hard to find since everything old has been pulled down and redeveloped. However, as an empty building it's a waste of time. I made this video in 2021, but all the photographs in it were taken in 2006. It hasn't changed a lot since then, other than having a lot more broken windows, more weathering and ivy growing up the walls. A recent update is that the owners have agreed to put the building up for sale. Presumably they've done this as it's now a serious liability due a young lad falling to his death from the roof in 2021. This video is made by Stroudy Central at stroudycentral.co.uk. Stroudy Central is a website about Stroud and documents the main changes in the area, along with other information such as walks. Please check out our website for further information.